ないでしょ。言ったじゃない。私の恋人になってみませんか。
恋なんて名前をつけるのは最後の最後でいい。そこから始まってしまったこれはきっと偽物の恋の物語だ。
What's going on, my friends? Today we're talking about Chitose Is in the Ramune Bottle, and we're covering episode 2, 3, and 4. I am so sorry that it's taken so long to get these videos out. I just decided to combine my whole entire review in 3 episodes. We covered episode 1, kind of like should you watch, what are our feelings there, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I want to apologize up front for anybody who is a subscriber or somebody who comes back for my content here on the channel. This specific anime just fell victim to me creating videos for my gaming channel, and I had to really put on pause a lot of the different anime that I do just because it required all of my attention. If you want to see my gaming content, I do Pokemon content on my YouTube channel. It's in the description. Check me out at the Game Looters. I do a lot of guides and videos on the game, so if you want to enjoy it with me and check out my guides, I'd appreciate it. Now, Chitose and the Ramune Bottle, like, I wasn't completely sold on episode 1. I was already like a little wishy-washy. And I figured, hey, I'm going to watch episode 2, 3, and 4. And I watched them back to back to back. So I watched episode 2, I watched episode 3, and then I watched episode 4. I took a shower, but, I take a little break. But I watched, right before episode number 4. And I really genuinely think that this show is going to have an audience for sure. I think the audience is, and you could tell me if this is you, I think the audience is going to be somebody who maybe sees themselves in one of these characters that is being shown on the screen. I think that one of the things I think the show is trying to convey is that even pretty people, even popular people, even people who seem to the outside looking in, that have everything, still have problems. And at the end of the day, we're all human. Whether you are a supermodel or whether you're a bum on the street, you have problems in your life, right? Even your most favorite famous person has problems. You just don't see it. And they may be living the life that you want, but they still have problems. And I think that's what the show is trying to convey, that, and it was trying to do it through this storyline of Kenta Yamazaki and Chitose, which is kind of taking him under his wing and showing that Saku Chitose, however you want to call his name, he's not perfect and he has a lot of issues and he has a lot of problems too. It just may not seem as valid as somebody like Kenta, who is an otaku and fat and unpopular and not really, doesn't really well with his words and not communicative and doesn't really know how to read a room, and so I won't dwell on it, but I think the audience is for people who kind of see themselves in Saku, or maybe one of the other side characters. Maybe you see yourself in Kenta. Maybe you see yourself in one of his friends, right? But I really think I want to focus on Chitose, because I think that if it's going to be people who really either see themselves or feel like they know somebody like Chitose who are really going to resonate with the show. And I think that is totally valid. On the opposite side, this is where I'm going to get a little negative, is, after watching the 3 episodes, right? I just do not like the main character. I don't like Chitose because he seems like, let me say this. It's like if the author of this show was heavily inspired by Oregairu and by Bottom Tier Nozaki-kun. It's like if those 2 shows had a baby, but the baby, like, it's basically like if those 2 shows are Michael Jordan and they had a baby and they just didn't live up to Pops. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I just feel like the author, and I could be wrong. You guys could be like, oh, well, actually, this show was written before, this was actually a light novel before the other 2 even existed. That could be true. But my feeling after watching it is like they got heavy inspiration from Oregairu, which I think they're trying to emulate, which is fine, right? I think that a lot of shows and a lot of light novels, a lot of manga exist because they took inspiration or got inspired by a piece of, another piece of media, and they created their own story, that's similar but completely different. I think that's fine, but I think it's too close to it. and it's just frankly not as good. I think one of the things that Oregairu does is and that's another not another teen romance or something like that. I forgot the English name of that, so I just, you know, whatever, right? The one of the things that show does really well is the MC walks us through the way he thinks, but he's very genuine to himself, and his self-discovery happens because he's so genuine to himself. And eventually he, you know, a few episodes in, one of the things that show doesn't do is it's not boring. This one it has a few funny moments, but it was boring. And Oregairu really isn't. And the two side characters there in Oregairu are really compelling, and you like them almost instantaneously. But in this one, you know, Yuko or Asuka or Yua or the Nanase girl who ended episode number 4, you know, none of them have really been really that compelling. So I can't really say like, and maybe you could feel different, and that's valid. But none of them are as compelling as the two main girls from that show, where I feel like this show really takes heavy inspiration from. Or even if you look at Bottom Tier Nozaki-kun, and I hate to compare, but because this is its own thing, but I kind of have to. If you look at that show, the main girl there, it was like episode 1, she was a big deal of the show. And whether you like that show or you don't like the show because of her. But I feel like there's so many girls here, and it definitely is harem-ish, right? Because all the girls seem to have the hots for Saku in a different way. And the positive thing about him is he realizes that, right? He realizes that he's sought after, and each of these girls kind of have a thing for him in their own way. And none of them are shy about kind of revealing that, except for maybe this Nanase girl who seems to kind of be playful with him a little bit. But the thing that show did well was that the character's very genuine to himself to a fault, to where his growth came because he was so genuine that he couldn't get out of his mind of the way his mind worked. And he eventually, in one episode, woke up that, shit, I've been a fool. As opposed to this character who seems multi-personality, right? He feels like the way that he's worked his way through life, right? He gave up baseball. You know, he gave up baseball for X reason. He knows that he's popular. He knows that because of he's popular, he's hated. He knows how to be comedic. He knows how to read a room. He gets along well with adults. He knows how to tease girls. He seems a little too unreal, but he doesn't have that ick. You know, he's cringy, right? But he's purposely cringy, but he doesn't have that ick or like that annoying piece of him like the main character in Oregairu that kind of makes you hate him. For him, it's you know, I don't like it because it just seems so unrealistic, and it seems like the author had an idea for what they wanted to do, and it seems like, again, like they were inspired by that, but they didn't quite nail it. And what ends up happening is we get this product, or we get these episodes, right, in episode 2 and 3 and 4, where it started to tell a decent story, right? He wants to live vicariously through his other kid, and he's gonna spend 3 weeks with him and kind of like, you know, show him the ropes, and not make him into a mini-me, but kind of like, you know, let him know, here's how you read a room, here's how I would react, here's how you should react in a conversation. Don't take things so personally. Let it fall off your shoulders. You know, I do like those lessons. I think they are valid lessons. Not a fan that bro was able to get skinny in 3 weeks. Impossible, even if you don't eat. And it seemed like bro was pretty overweight. It seemed like he was like 5'4", 200, maybe 250. And he looked like he ended up being, 5'7", 5'8", 140 at and it doesn't happen in 3 weeks. It just simply doesn't. You don't go from a pudge ball to not a pudge ball in that little time. But it's anime. I'm gonna let it go. So he spends 3 weeks with him, takes him under his wing, and he gets a little skinny, and he kind of teaches him the lessons. And he seems too intelligent, but not like school book intelligent. He seems like too people oriented intelligent, to where a 15 or 16-year-old just simply isn't, even the best of them. You know what I mean? They just simply aren't able to do that. And that's where I'm at an imbalance, and I'm at a crossroads of this show. Like, I'll say this: if you guys feel really passionate, if you're like Dom, you're a fool. This is gonna get really good. This Nanase character and the romance that's gonna happen with them, or fake romance or whatever, it's probably some bullshit with it. But like, if this is gonna be popping, I'll stay with the show. You guys let me know in the comments, and I'll know who made it to this point of the video if I read the comments. But I'm thinking I'm done with the show. Like, I just really don't like this character, and if I remove him, none of the other characters are compelling enough to say, yes, I need to watch this for 23 minutes every single week going forward. Those are my feelings, my friends. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you agree. And I really didn't talk about the details in all three of the episodes. I just want to talk about it holistically. And I hope I conveyed that, but I did watch them. And the Kenta kid he seems okay. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. If it's for episode 5, I'll be here if it's up to you guys. And if it's not, I'll see you for episode something else for a different anime. Peace.